All right. So I have my database open here and I have deleted the posts table here. Now, if we go to the posts here, we are going to see an error that the base table or view does not found. All right. Now, what we are going to do here is that previously we have defined or created the database manually by using the PHP myadmin. But in Laravel, we are not going to do that. Instead, we are going to follow a separate approach, which is called the migrations. Now, what are migrations and why we really need them? And what are the benefits of migrations? So, the first question, like what are migrations? So, migrations are a proper way in Laravel to creating tables. All right, so with the help of migrations, we can create tables, we can add columns to tables, we can drop columns, we can change columns, we can define foreign keys, foreign references, parent-child relationships, indexing, and lot of things with the help of migrations, which is also possible manually from phpMyAdmin, but we are not going to follow the phpMyAdmin. Instead, we are going to use the migrations approach. Second, what are the benefits of migrations? Now, the benefits of migrations are basically, let's say you have created a file or the project and you want to give this project to your friend or an employee or colleague. So what he or she should be aware of is like you don't want them to give the database which may contain your maybe personal information or stuff like that. All you need to do is basically you want them to install the fresh database or the tables. So all they need to do is basically they need to run a command and then the migrations will be installed in their database. All right, so how we create the migrations, let's take a look at that. So inside our project directory, we have the database call table here. Inside the database, we have migrations, and inside the migrations, you can see we have a couple of migrations already defined for us by the Laravel. If we click on that, you see we have the schema build here. Obviously, we will build that schema step by step. Every line we will write step by step together. But these are the few pre-built tables for us by the Laravel. So first table is basically called the users. All right. So what it contains the ID. Now, if we go inside the ID, it contains the big increments and the column. All right. So the default, we can also change the default as well. So we can also pass the, instead of ID, we can pass any other name, column name to the ID as well. But this contains a big increments. Now, if we go to the big increments, this contains an unsigned big integer. All right. Now, the unsigned big integer also passes the column here, and this there is another parameter passed to it, which is saying like the auto increment should be true. Now, if we go here, you will see like the big integer, column, auto increment, and unsigned. All right. Now, if we go more deeper into that, we will see more of the information and we can dig deeper and deeper into the migrations. So into this method here. So what this will do, this will basically create the ID with the primary key. Now, secondly, we have a string here. Now, what this string represents? So this represents a varchar when we create a table. So in the table, we create a column, and in the column, we define the type of varchar. All right. And here the string represents that varchar. And then we have the timestamps. So timestamp we will see like what the timestamp is. Obviously, we have talked about in our previous lectures where we created a table of post and we declared the timestamp of two fields like created at and updated at. But here this timestamp is basically email verified at. We will see that later in our upcoming series. Then we have a string of password, and then remember token, a column provided by Laravel, and then these are the timestamps you will see that the difference, this is timestamp and this is timestamps. Now if we go here inside the timestamps, so this will create two timestamp, created at and updated at. All right, now so we have this users migration, then we have the passwords reset token, so obviously we will cover that later as well. Then we have failed jobs migration available, and then the personal token access available. So this personal access token that table is used for API tokens, where we use Sanctum. Obviously these are way more advanced topics, we are not going to cover those right now, but I am just giving you a hint like what these tables are meant for. This failed jobs is basically if we want to run a migration, sorry, if we want to queue a job or a task, or we have scheduled a cron job, then if there is any job that has failed, so that job will automatically come to this failed jobs table. Then we have the password reset tokens. So this is basically called used when we reset the request, reset the password request sent by the email to the user. So the token is being filled in this table. And then when the user clicks on the specific URL that is generated by Laravel, then they will match, the Laravel will automatically match with this token, and then if it exists and it's not expired, then the user will be allowed to reset the password. Obviously we will also cover that part later in the series. All right, now let's move back to our users table, and so far we have no migrations or no tables exist in our database. And how to run the migration, how to install these tables in our database, it's really easy. All we need to do is go to the terminal and hit and type php artisan migrate and hit enter. And this is, here you see like creating migration table, and then these are the tables or the migrations that have been created for us. Now if we go back, I reload the page. Now we see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 migrations. All right, sorry, those the 5 tables. So inside the users, if you take a look at here, we have the ID, which is basically the primary key, and auto increment is also set to true for that. The name, where I was talking about string, so this is the varchar. Email verified at, password, remember token, created at, and updated at, these are the 2 timestamps. Now this migrations table, this table doesn't exist here, all right, but this is created out of the box for us by the Laravel, and this table contains all the migrations that have ran. All right, so for example, if we have run this users table migration, and if we want to run that migration again, and if that migration exists in this migration table, the Laravel will throw an error and it will say like this table already exists, or the migration has already been run, or maybe it throws like nothing to migrate. All right, so these are the 3 types of errors Laravel will generate. Now this is the first method, like where we have seen how we can run the migrations. For example, if we want to reset the migrations, if we want to revert all the migrations, what is the proper way of that? All right, so first way is like we can come here, we can check all, and we can delete the tables from here. But the second way, sorry, not from this migrations table, but from the basics here, from the main database, we can check all and we can delete from here. But in order to roll back the migrations or delete the migrations or the tables, we have a command for that, php artisan migrate rollback. All right, if we do that, now all the migrations are rolled back, and if we reload the database, we see all the tables deleted except the migrations. And if we open that, you see nothing, no record exists here. Now there is another way, which is called php artisan migrate fresh. Now what this will do is basically this will delete all the migrations and all the tables and all the records that is existed in our tables, and then it will rerun the migration. All right, so the rollover will delete all the tables but will not run the migration again, whereas the migration refresh or migration reset, these are the two functions or two commands. They will do what they will do is basically they will delete all the records, and then they will run, and only the refresh will run. The reset and rollback will delete the tables and will not run the migration again. All right, now if you want to do this one more time and want to migrate all the tables and run all the migrations, we can do php artisan migrate, and you will see all the tables have come back. Now let's say for example you have created a migration and you want to reset uh, the previous last ran migration. For example, you have run a migration where you created a posts table and you want to roll back that migration. How we can do that? We will see in our upcoming videos.